Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here. So I got this question about doing a direct or an indirect approach when talking to a girl that I thought I would answer here because it's a good question, and it's one of those things that's highly debated. What I want to do is, instead of just giving you a straightforward, complete, yes or no answer, kind of give you an example from my history a little bit here. When you're talking about things like this, what exactly is the psychology? What are you trying to accomplish here? So here's the question. He says, when you go up to a girl who you're obviously interested in and start a conversation with her, should you be direct and tell her that you're interested in her, or should you flirt without telling her you like her, but at the same time make it obvious with your body language that you find her sexually attractive? The reason I asked you this is I've had arguments with a few friends of mine regarding this. They believe you shouldn't tell a girl directly that you like her. I, on the other hand, have seen many videos on this topic online, and almost all these YouTubers emphasize in being direct. So I'm pretty confused as of now. You may need to be very direct if you're very shy and it's going to make you uncomfortable to do it, just to get in the habit of it so that you know you can go there. So one of the things that's really important is to develop a range, right? I talked about this. I did a video on finding your voice. And what I talked about is going to different extremes, right? I can get on this camera and I can say,
fuck this, fuck that, and I can be amped up and I can really come at you really fucking hard, bro. You know what I mean? Like I can take it there if I need to.
But I don't always have to be there. I can also come on the camera and I can be very mellow, and I can be very somber, right? And I can take the range there. Or I could talk about a technical topic, or I could talk about, try to amp you up and be excited, right? I can take my range in a different place, and I've tried it, right? And I forced myself to go to different extremes that made me uncomfortable so that I can find my voice, right? I did the same thing with my writing, okay? If you've seen some of my writing, I've written blog posts that are completely different voices. What you do is when you develop that range, just like a vocal range, now you can go to those places when you need to, and you kind of find where your true voice is. You got to look at it contextually, right? I mean, if you are on the street and you see some girl walking by and you're like, hey, wait a minute, hold on, wow, I saw you, I had to talk to you, you're just beautiful, but hey, what's your name, right? And you keep on flowing with it. That's great, that's fine, right? But in a different situation, that might not work so well, right? And it depends on how you can pull it off, right? It's all about what you can pull off, how you're making the other person feel, and what you're conveying, right? If you're able to convey that you find this girl attractive with confidence, meaning that it doesn't come off as needy and desperate, then it's going to come off okay. But if you come off as trying to get a response, a reaction, okay, and you're expecting something back, it's going to come off as needy. It's going to be putting an expectation on another person, and they're going to feel obligated, right? And they're going to feel that. They're going to feel that pressure. What you're trying to accomplish in this case is you're trying to indicate interest, to show that you are a sexual man, that you are not afraid of your sexuality, okay? And that you're not afraid to express it, that it doesn't make you uncomfortable, okay? And you're trying to start a conversation. You're trying to get somewhere. Now, how do you communicate that? Do you do that directly? If you have a short amount of time and you can pull it off and the context is right, sure. But could you do it indirectly? Sure, as well. I want to make the point, which is this, is that what are you trying to accomplish, right? It's going to be more effective also if you're able to communicate things without the words, right? The indirect communication is always going to be more effective and more powerful, the underlying thing. And I went to acting class, right? A while back, I used to do acting. And one of my acting coaches, really good, really focused on this indirect communication. This is one of the first scenes I ever did. And it's from a movie called Double Indemnity. I've actually got part of the script here, and I want to read you this because I want you to understand, I want you to see the kind of the power of innuendo and not directly saying things, right? Sometimes being direct is good. It can show boldness and confidence, but sometimes it's better to be a little bit more subtle, right? But to be very clear in what your intent is, right? Which is going to come across in how you present yourself, some of the wording that you use, and the way that you deliver it. So basically, what's happened here in the script in Double Indemnity is, this guy, he's come over to this house where this housewife is, and he's insurance salesman, right? An insurance salesman. And she invites him in, she goes and changes, she comes down the stairs, she's wearing this dress and this gold anklet on her left ankle, right? So this camera pulls back slowly as she descends, until we see Oliver. She's wearing a pale blue summer dress. So then she says, I wasn't long, was I? And he says, this is Mr. Neff. Not at all, Mrs. Dietrichson. I hope I got my face on straight. It's perfect for my money. And then she's coming to the mirror over to the fireplace. Won't you sit down? Neff, the name is, isn't it? And he says, with 2 F's, like in Philadelphia. It's if you know the story. What story? The Philadelphia story. What are we talking about? She works with her lipstick. About the insurance. My husband never tells me anything. It's on your 2 cars, the LaSalle and the Plymouth. He crosses to the Davenport to get the policy from his briefcase. She turns away from the mirror and sits in a big chair with her legs drawn up sideways, the anklet now clearly visible. We've been handling the insurance for 3 years, Mrs. Dietrichson. His eyes have caught the anklet. That's a honey of an anklet you're wearing, Mrs. Dietrichson. Phyllis smiles faintly and covers the anklet with her dress. We'd hate to see the policies lapse. Of course, we'd give him 30 days. That's all we're allowed to give. I guess he's been too busy at Long Beach in the oil fields. Could I catch him some evening for a few minutes? I suppose so, but he's never home much before 8. That would be fine with me. You're not connected with the Automobile Club, are you? No, all risked, Miss Dietrichson. Why? Somebody from the Automobile Club has been trying to get him. Do they have a better rate? If your husband's a member. No, he isn't. Phyllis rises and walks up and down, paying less and less attention. Well, he'd have to join the club and pay a membership fee to start with. The Automobile Club is fine. I never knock the other fellow's merchandise, Miss Dietrichson, but I can do just as well for you. I have a very attractive policy here. It wouldn't take me 2 minutes to put it in front of your husband. He consults the policies he's holding. For instance, we're writing a new kind of 50% retention feature in the collision coverage. She stops in her walk. You're a smart insurance man, aren't you, Mr. Neff? I've had 11 years of it. Doing pretty well? It's a living. You handle just automobile insurance, or all kinds? She sits down again in the same position as before. All kinds. Fire, earthquake, theft, public liability, group insurance, industrial stuff, and so on. Right down the line. Accident insurance? Accident insurance? Sure, Miss Dietrichson. His eyes fall on the anklet again. I wish you'd tell me what's engraved on that anklet. Just my name. As, for instance, Phyllis. Phyllis. I think I like that. But you're not sure? I'd have to drive it around the block a couple of times. Mr. Neff, why don't you drop by tomorrow evening about 8:30? He'll be in then. Who? My husband. You were anxious to talk to him, weren't you? Sure. Only I'm getting over it a little, if you know what I mean. There's a speed limit in this state, Mr. Neff. 45 miles per hour. How fast was I going, officer? I'd say about 90. Suppose you get down off your motorcycle and give me a ticket. Suppose I let you off with a warning this time. Suppose it doesn't take. Suppose I have to whack you over the knuckles. Suppose I bust out crying and put my
Head on your shoulder.
Suppose you try putting it on my husband's shoulder. That tears it. He takes his hat and his briefcase. 8:30 tomorrow evening then, Miss Dietrichson. That's what I suggested. Will you be there too? I guess so. I usually am. Same chair, same perfume, same anklet. I wonder if I know what you mean. I wonder if you wonder. So, okay. So I want you to you know, again, this is pretty shitty acting, but I want you to pay attention to, you know, like think about what happened in that scene. What was being conveyed without being conveyed. And if you can imagine, you know, how it would be played out, you can have an idea of how powerful that indirect approach is. There's some some directness there, but it's mostly indirect. Mostly what's being communicated here is subtext. It's the underlying communication that's happening. They both know what's going on. They're playing this kind of game, right? It's very clear by the not just what's spoken, but the way that it's spoken. Like, think about in this situation. Think about Mr. Neff coming in the situation and being direct, being like completely direct, okay? What would happen? How quickly would he get blown out? How quickly would she have to say, you need to leave, right? And kick him out, right? But in this instance, he's playing it smart, right? He's looking at the context of the situation. He's trying to communicate what he wants to communicate subtly, so that if she is interested in that line of communication, the direction he's taking it, he can pick up on that. She's doing it subtly. When it starts to cross the line, she starts to, back off from it and draw that line. But he's already got what he needed. He already got the information. He's already, gathered enough information, indicated his interest, right, at that point. And she's responded, but she said, wait a minute, hold on. This needs to be a little bit slower than where you think this is going. It's not happening right now, but maybe later. The more powerful that you can be with the nonverbal communication, or with innuendo, or communication that is subtle, right? That there's a undercurrent, right? A good novel, a good play, a good movie has all of this subtext. People that are charismatic are people that are able to indicate, right, things without having to say them directly. Can you be a person who can speak with subtext and can communicate your point? If you can't, it's better to be direct rather than be misunderstood. If you fail at creating unspoken communication, then it's better that if you just spoke it and said what you want. Otherwise, you're going to seem very pansy. You're going to seem very weak and very shy and very unsure of yourself. So, coming back to the question, direct or indirect, it doesn't matter so much. You're going to be more powerful and more effective when you can be indirect but subtle, okay? And it's communicating through subtext, because that's going to be more interesting, it's going to be more fun, and it's going to do even a better job of communicating the thing. And it's also going to create some mystery of, am I reading this right? Is this really happening right now type of situation. But if you can't do that right now, and if you're starting out, you're going to have more, it's going to be better for you to be direct and to develop the range so that you can go there. Because if you don't have the range, you can't go there. So you have to be able to confidently be direct first before you can be confidently indirect, because a person who is not capable of something cannot indicate that, right? The reason why non-verbal threats work is because you know that person could go there, right? If you don't think that the person could go there, you don't think that they're capable, you sense that, you sense an incongruency. And anytime that someone's incongruent, you get that radar going off, that spook radar. You're like, there's something creepy about this. There's something weird here. This incongruency. We all have that ability to detect incongruencies within people. And so there's your answer for you. A little bit long, but hopefully you can get through the bad acting there. It's a little hard to play the scene and get yourself. But hey, anyway, that's what I got for you. If you haven't already, click that subscribe button, click the bell so you don't miss any videos. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.